So we're back with Nizi Project. This is episode 6 where the vocal test continues. Now, I don't have my hand recognition. Oh, actually, I'm on the wrong scene as well. I don't have my hand recognition on because I'm actually holding myself up physically, using my hands to brace myself. I have one hand on the mouse, and I'm just scrolling through my notes here. I threw my back out, and so I'm injured, and it's been getting worse over the recent hours. I actually couldn't get up from this chair before. And so right now, I'm hoping I can get out of this chair later after doing this, but I'm in a lot of pain. So hopefully just put up with that. So this is the continuation of the vocal test. Last time we got to see only Sodai get the vocal cube. But later on, you'll find out that Miraku and Yu from the last episode also got cubes in later deliberations. And so it continues where with Seita here. Now Seita, he's focused on his vocals and he wants to relax his neck. I think he got feedback on that. So JYP said he looks nervous and stiff. And then it showed this thing about his dog, which is really cute, and I'm really into dogs. You guys don't know this, maybe you do, but my dog died this year, and I've been really sad about it. Actually, something funny happened yesterday is that I heard a dog barking, and I thought you guys might have heard it when I was recording A2K. And I was like, oh, that's just my dog. Then I realized, no, wait, my dog's dead. What was that? That's like a ghost story or something. But anyways, this guy gets to his vocals. And in my opinion, he sounded fine. But throughout the whole thing, he's kind of talk singing to me. And it sounds kind of like, I guess it's kind of karaoke-ish. But like, it's not like bad singing. But I felt like his rap was way better. And that's just it. JYP. Now when JYP talked about him, JYP said, he improved on stiffness and has a good sense of rhythm. But when he started rapping, then he got stiff again. And so he didn't get a cube on the spot, but he would get a cube later after deliberations. And so that's Seita. After him is Haru. Now, JYP said his singing was good and stable, but his breathing was not right back in his auditions. For him, he's new to singing since training under JYP, so naturally he's kind of nervous. A lot of these people who are new to JYP also learn to sing after studying at JYP. And so people like him, they're just not used to it. They're more used to dancing than singing. Now, when it came to his vocals, I felt like his vocals sounded mostly good, actually. Though he had this thing where he's kind of a deer in the headlights, but not as bad as I sometimes see. And he actually relaxed more as the song went on, but definitely you can see in his body language and his face, he's kind of just like staring blankly a bit. He was definitely in his head a bit. Now, what JYP said about him was that he really improved. And I thought that he was just kind of leaving it at that. And I was like, oh, I guess maybe I was the one who thought he was a deer in headlights. But then JYP later on said that his body movements were unnatural. And he actually got no cube as well on the spot, but he did get one later in deliberation. So, only a few people, like maybe like 3 people got stones on the spot, and several more got them much later. Like, I think maybe 4 got stone. Yeah, 4 got stones on the spot, and 8 got them later. And so a lot of these people did not reach JYP's expectations in the moment. The next one up. So there's four guys who get summarized just kind of really quickly after this. And so we have Yuhi here, who JYP says he knows how to sing delicately and has a fascinating voice, but he wouldn't get a cube until afterwards, which is kind of weird because he got summarized. And so I assume that if you're getting summarized, you're not doing that well. But then next is Taiga, and JYP said he can appeal with his song, or his singing, I guess, but he didn't get a cube. And then also, after that, we got Taichi from Kanagawa. Where is he? Did I choose the wrong one? So Taichi from Kanagawa, he JYP said his sense of rhythm is almost the best, and he wouldn't get a cube until later. And then after that, there was Shoke here, and Shoke JYP said he will improve with practice, but he won't get a cube until later as well. But funny thing is, 4 guys here got summarized, and 3 of them got cubes. 1 of them didn't, and you'll see that how that affects him later. But after this kind of like drought in cubes, because you have to remember that these 4 guys didn't get cubes in the moment. So a whole bunch of people were like getting nervous and kind of like there was a high pressure situation brewing. JYP, he ended up taking a break again after no good tests. And then he wouldn't come back until a little bit later. But when he did come back later, we get to see Takahashi Ryo. So Takahashi Ryo was someone who was going through puberty. And his voice was kind of rough at the high notes and cracking. So apparently JYP said his voice is appealing and he knows that it will improve after he goes through puberty. He got a dance cube in the dance evaluation, but he wants to do better because of his low rank, which was like 14 or 15. But he thinks the best way to get a cube is to do a good rap to compensate for not being able to reach the high notes. And so when he did perform, I actually thought he had really good energy. I liked it a lot. His rap was good and he made good choices basically. Now JYP, he was kind of like disappointed that he didn't pull a miracle overnight and said, you know, he kind of knew that he couldn't make the changes that JYP pointed out. I mean, that's just biology at this point. But aside from that, JYP praised him and said he had good rhythm, power, and storytelling ability. And he was also impressed with his original rap. And because of that, he ended up getting a stone on the spot. And so that's a relief because I thought he was really good. And JYP recognized it as well. So after this is Yuki. Yuki, he felt bad about not doing good during the dance section. He did receive a cube though. But he only got it in later deliberations. And so he was kind of like, he really wanted to get a cube on the spot. And honestly, I would say that's kind of like a odd goal. Like you shouldn't make, but I can see that he's aiming high. But it's kind of like a lot of pressure to put on yourself, you know? But he ended up practicing a lot to do that. And, you know, I kind of joked about this guy in the past and said, no, he has like, he's got this gender bender energy. Kind of like I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up one day and he was secretly a girl or something. But he had potential to have a really good voice, I feel like. And so he starts singing. And I feel like he sounds okay. He is kind of breathy and shaky though. And I noticed that he kind of trails off on his notes. And there are times when you can hear his full voice come through and it's way better. But I actually thought JYP was not going to like give him a good kind of criticism because it was very breathy and shaky. But then JYP, he said that his voice is amazing. And one habit he needed to work on was hitting the note right away and not just kind of like slowly adjusting to fit it. And so he's like, JYP is like, oh, this guy's not sure of his voice when he's leading up to a note or maybe like trying to find the note. He's kind of leading into it instead of just hitting it right away. And I would say that's very similar to what I said about noticing the notes trailing off. Although I've noticed something is that whenever I talk about, when I see something in the dance or in the vocals, I always see it happening after the dance, and JYP sees it before the dance or before the move, before the note, you know. And so I'm kind of wondering what's going on there. But you know, obviously he's just a smarter guy than I am. He knows this stuff, so he ended up getting a cube. I think he got it on the spot, and so that was good for him. He ended up achieving his goal that he set out. So that's Yuki. So the next one up is AG. Now AG is JYP's new reign. JYP keeps praising this guy for being like his top guy, right? And so he was highest in dance, and he's determined to do well in vocal and star quality. And so when you get to his vocals, I thought that he had a very good start and his higher notes were all right, but I wasn't that overly like moved by it. Now when it came to JYP, JYP said he needed to relax his shoulder more and breathe right, and he needs to work on relaxing his upper body. But he actually did improve according to JYP, and he has a good rhythm. Now he would receive a cube on the spot, but he did receive one after the deliberations. And so on that point, JYP basically gave them all an impromptu vocal training. You know, he got up and told them like how to relax your shoulders, your chest, upper body, and stuff. And then we finally get to see the final trainee. And at this point, I'm like, wait a second, final trainee. There's something off. There's something off about this because I think that in the last show, there was only like 3 people summarized or something like that. Or in the last episode, at least. I feel like there was only a couple of people summarized. Or maybe none summarized. No, there was none summarized in the last episode when I look at my notes. And so I still have a list of 6 people who have not performed in the vocal test. And so I was kind of concerned that they said Tomoya here was going to be the last one. So these guys didn't even get summarized. But anyways, Tomoya's up. Apparently he started singing after coming to JYP as well. And he said that his strategy was basically not to worry. And then when I saw that he was singing Switch to Me, I was thinking one of 2 things. 1, JYP's gonna love it because that's his song. And then 2, that's a great song, so how can you not enjoy it? And how can you not enjoy yourself if you're choosing that song? And so he actually starts singing, and he's actually really good. And I know the song inside and out. It's one of my favorite songs, actually. Because it's kind of like very similar to the Bobby Brown stuff. You know, I love that song In Control. I love the song Every Little Step. I mean, these are basically like amalgamation of those New Jack Swing songs. So he's one thing that it also impressed me is that he's singing in Korean, and I feel like I didn't really notice it right away, but I feel like the Japanese viewers would notice that right away. And also he raps well, very well, and so I thought that this guy was like top of his game. JYP gave him an instant cube at the end of his performance, and then he says his sense of melody and rhythm were perfect, but so were the feelings and nuances he put into like the performance. Now I wish he used words that were easier to identify and relate to it. But other than that, he said that he did well, and he just wants to improve his thin voice. Now, I don't know what that means, but I'll assume it means something that Tomoyo can recognize. If not, I guess Tomoyo has to really think about it. But that's the end of the vocal test. And like I said before, 6 trainees were not shown. And that was really confusing to me. And it gets to the rankings later on. And so you have the final rankings here. I'm not sure if I can find this list. There it goes. So over here you have Sadai number 1, Tomoya number 2, Yuki number 3, Ryo number 4. Now those are the people in the top 4 here who got their cubes instantly. Now the people who got the cubes extra were Haru, Seita, Yuhi, Shoke, Eiji, Miraku, Yu, and Taichi from Kanagawa. And so that's 8 people from number 5 to number 12 who got their cubes later. And then the rest got no cubes. And so that's from number 13 to 20. You have Kohei, Taiga, Taichi, Sean, Ken, Takao, Yuto, and Takato. And of course the Taichi I mentioned here is the one from Tokyo, which is Takahashi Taichi, not Inagawa Taichi. So that's that. Now, next up for these guys is the star level test. And something also happened near the end, which is that Taiga, I think he was disappointed with Tears, and several came to support him because he didn't get a cube. I don't know what his thing is. If he's a JYP trainee, and that's why a whole bunch of people came out to kind of, console him, because he wasn't upset visibly before they came to help talk to him, and then when they did came, the tears started coming. And so this may be like setting up for a redemption for him, but it seems like, I don't know, it's a lot of special attention to give just one guy. And so that's Taiga in 14th place. And then, other than that, we have just the current. Let's get myself smaller here. This is the current lineup for people. So, Seita and Taichi and Taiga and Taichi from Tokyo, the two Taichis, and Sean and Gohei. Those are people with one stone or cube. And then the people with multiple cubes are Eiji, Shokei, Sodai, Haru, Moya, Ryo, Yuhi, Yuki, Yu, and Miraku. And so when I look at this, I say this is a very good estimation of what I've seen so far. In terms of the people who I think are definitely going to make the group, I definitely see Sodai and Eiji making the group for all the hype they're getting. I definitely see Haru and Yu making the group from just my own view of things. Tomoya is definitely one of those guys who is so visible and so obvious that I would just say, Tomoya, you're definitely going to get in, right? And then you have Miraku, and Yuhi and Ryo and Yuki. Those are like the other guys who I think will also do pretty well. There's no reason for them not to succeed unless they fail in the star power. Now, JYP seems to really like Ryo, and I didn't really notice him that much, and he wasn't shown leading up to boot camp, and so I'm kind of I feel like this is kind of like a dark horse here, but he's been doing really well, and I liked his performance so far. Miraku, I feel like there's a lot of people like him, but then he's kind of like there's a vibe that's not like meeting his star quality potential yet, so we'll see if he can show star quality. I feel like Yuki is very recognizable, but he has confidence issues, and I don't know if that will hurt him. Yuhi, he's one of the new people who showed up in boot camp. I don't know if he's like being praised. Like, is it safe to say that people get shown for their auditions and boot camp are people who will do better? I don't know how many people who show up in boot camp do better. I can't remember off the top of my head who was in like Nizi Project season 1 who showed up only in boot camp and then succeeded. People would know that. If you do know that, leave a comment. But I feel like some of this is pretty clear. Like, I feel like Eiji is a lock. Sodai is probably a lock. Tomoya is a lock. Haru and Yu, I would say very good, very strong possibilities for lock. And I would add Ryo to that just because of that. Yuki is probably someone you would want to be in the group regardless of how well he does. And then you have Yuhi and Miraku. I would say those are the most shaky of the 2 cube people. And then the rest, in terms of the 1 cubes and the no cubes, Takao was the first person we ever see, and Takato was one of the guys with like the big heart, you know. He's the one we wanted to root for to do well, but these guys have just not been doing that well in dance and vocals. The 2 Taichis, very interesting. I feel like Inagaki Taichi has an upper hand on the other Taichi just because physiognomy. He's taller. He looks more kind of like fitting in with a taller, older group. Whereas Taichi is kind of a smaller kind of looking guy. He would kind of be like more in a smaller looking people group, like with Takao, for example. Now Taiga, I feel like he only got the dance cube, and he's being showcased behind the scenes. And you guys, I just talked about him crying. I feel like there's something about him that they're pushing for some reason. So I'm not gonna discount that. Now Ken, he has a good, decent look, but so far he's got no cubes, and at the end of the day, you have to perform, right? So I don't know what's gonna happen there with him. If he can like come out of nowhere and just like do a good job, or if it's gonna be the end of the road for him. Kohei, he was one of the top in dance, and it would be a shame if he couldn't do better in vocals. But we'll see what happens with the star quality. It's kind of a little bit early, because you guys know we're just doing individual evaluation so far. So we have vocals and dance down. We're going to do star quality next. We'll see where it goes. But anyways, this video is getting a bit long. I don't want it to be 20 minutes, so I guess that's pretty much it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comment box down below. I'm kind of like not in a good position to do this. My leg's falling asleep. I'm like just holding myself up with one arm. And so threw my back out installing a fountain. Basically, wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to sit in this chair just now and do this video. But I'm going to have a hell of a time getting out of this chair. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, I forgot to turn on my lighting effects